Good morning, and thank you so kindly for tuning in to Brown Eyes on this beautiful, amazing, wonderful day. Because remember, so as a man thinketh in his heart, then so is he. We are to think upon things that bring us a good report. We are to speak things that are not, as though they were already. Well, y'all, I just been thinking as usual. Just wanted to share some quick thoughts with you. Plant some positive seeds out into the atmosphere so that they may take root and manifest in my favor. Up early, not on the grind, but up early, taking care of a little business. And I wouldn't say that I'm all that today because I'm makeupless. I'm just, went out to just handle a couple of things. So I'm not, I wasn't out looking to impress anyone, so to speak. But the men were barking nevertheless. But what I want to just quickly touch on is the previous video that I made entitled No Sex, No Deal Minded Men. I wanted to kind of emphasize on that part because I just want to share some things with you men. Now, hey, if it doesn't apply, what they say, let it fly. If the shoe does not fit, don't try to put your big old feet in them shoes, okay? They don't fit. It's not for you. But for those who it resonate with and you know that this is you, you're doing this, then I just want to simply remind you of what I'm about to tell you, okay? Now, I used to think that there was a shortage of good men around here because the majority of men are, for the black community, are either married, um, incarcerated, gay, which is okay, or just downright ain't shit. So it made the pickings kind of slim. And then you also have that category of men who have been through so much in life. Men are very egotistical. They are taught to hide their emotions. So they're very shrewd in the emotion department. So if you're in those categories and the women are left, what are the women left to deal with? What are the women left to choose from? So it would be safe to say, doesn't mean that it's right that most women would migrate to messing around with a man that's already in an obligated relationship, such as a marriage. He could already be married. He might have a girlfriend. He might already have some type of relationship because there are a shortage of good men. And so what I'm trying to say is most of y'all men ain't shit. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just think y'all need to get off your own dick and stop jacking your own self out because you're not all that. You men seem to think that you are the bee's knees, or however the little saying goes, when the whole world is in total chaos. Now, the men were created to be the head. Don't forget that the men were created to be the head, but for some reason, the men are just taking a step back, and they're stepping backwards. So I'm entitling this video From a Knight to a King, right on back to a knight again. What's up with that? Because we understand that a knight represents immaturity or youth, and yet it's kind of innocent. But when you're supposed to evolve, mature from a knight to a king, to get a better understanding, to mature physically, mentally, emotionally, all those things when you are a king. But for some reason, it's like the knights are trying to portray themselves as if they were kings. And you can see right through them. It's just like a little baby try to practice and act like his daddy. You know, he go put his daddy shoes on and he click clack around the house and stuff like that. But you know, he ain't no grown man. He's just a baby. He do baby shit. He say baby shit. He acts baby shit. You hear me? He's just a baby mentally, and his energy is still as of a baby, immature, unlearned. But he would try to pretend like he is that king, or like he is that mature man that he has not as of yet made it yet. But the sad thing I'm also running into are men who supposed to are who have should have been through trials and challenges in life, that have made it mentally, emotionally, spiritually, should have to from a knight to a king, um, are going backwards. You know what? The saddest thing to see, and I know you people have seen this somewhere in your life, but I think one of the saddest things to see is for a very older gentleman, I'm talking about an older gentleman, to be wearing his hat turned to the side, to be wearing his pants kind of saggy, to be wearing like the hip hop version of clothes. And they say you're only as young as you feel. I get that. But when you are a certain age, certain things does not accentuate your characteristics or your spirit anymore. So you're taking on the energy of a youngster when you 40, 50, 60 years old, and you trying to go backwards when you should have already did that. So that's like a knight stepping into a king, stepping back to a knight because he's trying to capture something that was lost. So what I'm wondering is, why do you men think y'all are the shit when y'all can't even figure out where the hell you want to be at in life? You don't know if you want to stay in a knight's position, or if you're ready to step into a grown man's shoes and be a king. But at any rate, you have no right to step to a grown woman, a grown queen, if you will, and you're still in knight status. I don't think a knight status has the right to step to a queen, have the right to step to a king either. You understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that you shouldn't be unequally yoked. There is a maturity gap level there. So if you're a knight, you're gonna think and do things. That's like the young boys with what I say is young and knights. They walking around here, and if the wind blow, if you cough too hard, they dicks popping up, they getting all on hard, but then they want to try to act like they can be your man and be everything you need in life, when the only thing they have to offer at that time is just a good old fuck. You know what I'm saying? So, but then at the same time, you try to migrate to an older gentleman thinking that he's more mature and more stable-minded, but in actuality, he just want to fuck you too. I'm just saying, the games. So it is a spiritual thing. It is the energy thing. It is the energy of what you choose to embody, what you choose to join yourself with. I guess some people don't want to grow up. Some people are comfortable where they're at, but I don't think that if you're a knight, you shouldn't be trying to step in man's shoes and come in wolf and come as wolf in sheep clothing, trying to act like you the man's man and you the man and you got it all figured out, because it's gonna come out anyway. I went and I paid for some gas earlier, and it was this young boy, and I know he was every bit of my children's age. And like I said, I'm not dressed up or anything. I threw this on to go out and handle some business, because I believe in going out early, taking care of the important things, then coming back and then and relaxing or whatever. But at least the business is taken care of. So I'm not looking for nobody. I mean, it was like 6 o'clock, and he has a nerve to say, and you can tell he was a knight because of his wording. He said, "Excuse me, you sure you're beautiful? What's your name?" And I was so caught off guard because I wasn't trying to holler at nobody, and I wasn't expecting for anybody to try to holler at me this early in the morning. And so I was fixing to get ready and throw my pitch. The pitch I always throw when I don't want to be bothered, when someone asks me, "What is your name?" I always sarcastically say, "Pudding-tane, you ask me again, I'm going to tell you the same." And I was fixing to say that until I realized that he didn't ask, till I realized he didn't ask me my name. He asked me, could he talk to me? And I just said, well, no, you're too young. In other words, you too young. Where your uncle at? Where your daddy? If anything, you know? So, I don't know. I guess it's okay to be a mature woman and to play around with a knife, but you're not going to get anything but a good old fuck, and you might get messed around and get some caught up with some STDs because he is loose. His hormones are raging. He's at his peak. He's at his prime. He's trying to conquer any and every vagina. You hear me? But for a mature-minded woman who is settled-minded, who is looking for the longevity and looking to build a strong foundation in a relationship, this queen only, and hear me when I say it, only requires a king, someone to match my energy. So if you are a knight and you're trying to front like you're a king, let it be known that these women are not playing. They tired of the bullshit. It's not just me. It's women across the board. It's collectively women are tired of the bullshit. Women are so fucking tired of trying to be in the leadership position when the man was created to be the head. How do you expect for a woman to constantly have faith and trust that there are some good men when all we see is the fuckery? I mean, all we see is the bullshit, the games, and the bullshit in the games come from any age, any dynamics, any nationality. It's across the board, and women are tired of it, especially black women, because we know the struggle of the sisters. We've raised children as a single parent. Ain't no way in the fuckity fuck are we trying to raise a grown ass man. You hear me? So, having said that, I want to encourage you queens to continue to fight the fight of faith. You are awesome. You are wonderful. You do not need a man to validate you, although it helps to join yourself and to work equally with someone. But these men, I mean, they garbage. They're garbage until they learn how to really be open and to sincerely deny themselves and to give back, because most of these men are fucking selfish. All they worry about is their needs. No, you know what? Let me say this before I end this, because this is what I was thinking about yesterday when I made my other video. It's a sad thing when men always think that they have a right to your body, but they don't want to invest in you. You know, an older wise gentleman told me way back then when I'm talking about when I was really fine, honey. I thought I was every bit of a quarter piece. You hear me? He saw me. He saw me, and he knew how attractive that I was, but he didn't want me to be taken advantage of, because he took a liking to me. Take something, drink. He took a liking to me. And he had the old pimp mentality back then. And this was back when I was 25, 26. And he said, girl, he said, with a beautiful ass body like you got a big old donkey booty. You got a beautiful face. He said, you really can get anything you want from these men. Now, this is what he said. This is how he categorized it. He didn't say out of life. He said out of these men, I guess, to establish me in life. He said, you can get anything you want out of these men. He said, but be careful, because men will use you up and they will toss you to the side, as pretty and fine as you are. He said, I'm telling you, because I'm a man. He said, but let me tell you something. He said, and if you remember this, you'll never go wrong and you'll never have to worry about it. He said, men can always talk a good ass talk. He said, but this is what's going to separate the real men from the fake ass men. He said, before I say this, remember, it ain't tricking if you got it. So if you got it, it ain't tricking. So a man that's really sincere about you is not going to come into any relationship talking all this shit constantly, not proving and not showing you nothing. A man is going to come in the door showing you, doing. Do you hear me? Because he's building your trust, and he's trying to show you that he means to be around for the longevity, and he's taking you serious, and that he's really into you. He said, but a man that wants to fuck you down and then discard your ass, and then he can't half-ass want to do shit for you. He said, that's a fake ass dude. Those are the dudes you run from. He said, I don't care how good they talk game is. If they not showing you shit first, then they don't deserve to be in the midst of your presence. You hear me? So ladies, queens, it's easy for a man to talk shit. Who can't talk shit? We're all professional shit talkers when we need be. But a man who's really sincere about being with you will start off doing things with you and for you, and ain't even and don't secretly have a notebook and a paper keeping up score about what the fuck he done did because he feel like you owe him. No, a man is gonna automatically see your worth. He's gonna adore your worth, and he's going to invest in you. And he also told me, he said, a real man knows what it takes to get a woman. If a man wants to get a woman in the bed, then a real man knows how to do that respectfully, meaning you're not going to have to tell him what wine you like to drink or what drink of choice you like, or your if you want to smoke a blunt, whatever you want to do, you ain't got to tell that man that. If he is listening to you, he's invested in you, he's gonna automatically make sure he have those things for you because he want you. Do you hear me? Now that, my dears, is what separate the boys from the men. And if you remember that, I don't give a fuck how horny you may get. I don't give a damn how lonely you may get. It's not worth losing your body, losing your peace over a temporary fuck because the boy can't grow up. You hear me? So having said that, I thank you so kindly for tuning in to Brown Eyes on this beautiful, amazing, wonderful day. And remember, so is a man thinketh in his heart, then so is he. We are to think about things that bring us a good report. We are to speak things that are not as though they were already. Thank you so kindly for tuning in to Brown Eyes on this wonderful day. I ask that you like my video and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you another time.